means for the economy and your money.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not even interested.
Oh,
Whole shit, dab,
oh, never mind. You ruined it.
dab.
Show's canceled before it starts. You ruined it with that one. That was terrible.
Anyways, what is going on, everybody? Frankie here for the Bakersfield Gentlemen with my brother Miguel. You guys, we are here at Culebra's Lounge in Bakersfield, California, on a rather nice day,
Weather-wise, just in
weather-wise.
general, I'll say yeah, it is a very nice day today. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
gonna
yeah. You
complain.
know, the weather's been pretty darn good. I'm not gonna lie. Um, hasn't been overly hot. How has been the last few weeks. No triple digits in sight. We will raise up to about a 99 later on this week, I think,
I think next week, yeah.
or next week, and then we'll start gradually going back down. And by Halloween, we should be in full fall weather mode. So, looking forward to that. To be quite honest with you guys, we are currently waiting on our guests to show up, and then we will get them in. Man, I'm not even showing the video here.
That's already popped up for me twice. Where do you go? We got Steve over there, and we got the first guest already ready to go. Faster than a speeding bullet right there. Although wait, I can't see the picture now. Oliver, when you get a chance, I'm gonna wait for the picture to come back, and then I'm gonna give me that thumbs up if you are ready. Brian, though, Steve, Tom, how you guys doing? Thank you so much. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I got that thumbs up. I just saw it. All right, and here we go. You ready, Frankie?
Hold
Sort of.
on.
He's almost
Shit, I'm
ready.
ready. All right, let's do this.
There we go. Oh no,
Where's he at? He froze?
Oliver, brother. Yeah, I think you might have been frozen. Dot.
I think I hear him. Oliver, can you hear us? Nope,
No,
we
he
lost
cut
him.
out right there.
He may be in a bad maybe in a bad spot.
Well, hey Steve, how you doing? Good to see you, brother. No worries. Check in whenever you can. There we
How's it
Oh,
go.
looking?
I think we see him. Can you hear us?
I got you.
Oh, fantastic,
There we
brother. How
go.
you been?
I was connected to the 87 New York, New Jersey throughway Wi-Fi at the station here, and that wasn't working. So I just went
Gotcha,
straight,
gotcha, gotcha.
straight phones over. What's good? What's good?
Oh man, so much, so much. I mean, the best part is obviously that we have you here with us today.
100%.
Um, we go back
Appreciate you.
a few years. You know, we've known each other for a little while now, and
Yeah,
for people who may not know you, uh, will you fill them in on what exactly your role is with United?
yeah. So for United, thank you guys for having me on the show too, and fitting fitting the schedule. I know I was kind of a pain in the ass for that, but so United, I started with United in 2016. Um, as director of sales and marketing at the time, and that role kind of changed to more operations, but still sales and marketing. So it's just overseeing the entire aspect of the company, from sales, marketing, production, operation, um, and it's been it's been an uphill battle, but it's been amazing. We've had tremendous support from retailers, customers, consumers. Guys like you out there. So it's been humbling to say the least. But yeah, it's a great experience.
So,
Fantastic, fantastic. What do you have there that you're smoking?
I'm smoking our Terra Nova. So this is a line made by Arnold Andre. It's over a 200-year-old German company, monsters in Europe when it comes to the machine made side. And in 2010, they wanted to. The family always wanted to get into the premium cigar side. And 2010, they bought a factory in the Dominican Republic. And 2011, they launched their premium division. And there are lines that are distributed throughout Europe that do very well for them. And two of the lines, they asked United Cigars to begin distribution just at the beginning of this year. So we kind of showcased it at the TPE show, and that was the Terra Nova Dark Fired Kentucky, and we have the Terra Nova Araparique, and then we also took on their Montosa line. So we have the Natural and Maduro. Great price points. Montosa, right around the $6 range, and Terra Nova's around the $8 range. So great price points, great construction, beautiful blends. So we're very happy to have them in our portfolio.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I myself here have the Byron 4 year. That's what I selected for today's smoke. And Mike, what about you?
I am having the 5 year. So a little celebration here because we get to talk to you.
Yeah, there we go. The sun came up today. We saw another day. So God bless.
That's right.
Smoke, celebrate it. So when you say, so you guys say the 4 year and the 5 year, that's the beauty of the Byron line, but it's also the little crutch on it. So there are 3 different centuries on the Byron line, and within those centuries, there are different aging years of the cigar. So, what's the band that you have on there?
It's the blue band that says Reserva 4 year or 4 años.
So it's a blue. Oh yeah, okay. So that's the 21st century. I'm seeing that. So the 21st century, all of the lines or all the vitolas for the 21st century are aged post roll for a minimum of 4 years. So the Byron, what makes selected tobacco is the aging process post roll. So the cigars are rolled, then they're put into an aging room for 1 year. And that aging room consists of 5 different cedars. You have Cuban, Spanish, Mexican, Brazilian, Lebanese cedars. And humidity is brought down to 40% and then back up to 70. So the cigar is actually purging any other impurities. Nelson already takes his time with the tobacco. Nelson Alfonso, the creator of the Byron, Atabey, and Byron line. But he takes the tobacco, puts it through a fermentation at least 5 times to remove any other impurities, ammonias, and then even that first year of aging in that room, bringing humidity down to 40%, back up to 70, that's to expel anything else that might be left. Then after that first year, it's placed into a secondary aging room with those cedars again, and humidity brought down to 40%, back up to 70 over the course of another 3 years for that particular Byron. On the other Byron, that looks like that could be the Londoness. Looks like a yellow wrapper.
That it is.
Yellow band, yep. So that could be the Londoness or the Habanero. Both of those are aged for 5 years post roll. So when I say the beauty and the not necessarily frustration, but the beauty of the Byron line is that aging process, and there are so many different flavor profiles within the portfolio of Byron. But some people will look at that and say, oh yeah, I smoked the 4 años. Well, which 4 años? Because in the 19th century, you got the Petit Poema that's aged for 4 years, got a blue band. The Peak Poema, 4 years. So there's there can be a little confusion for the end consumer, but it's a fantastic line.
It sounds like that little bit of confusion might just be a really good variety and choices, though, too, at the same time. Because that the complexity and the factors that you just mentioned, just in the aging process, let alone the growing, the blending, the actual manufacturing, that sounds like such an intricate amount of work to go into what are some amazing cigars. Everyone I've had has been a huge fan of the Byron line, and of course the Bandoleros as well, and the Atabey. I mean, just top-notch stuff. But I love to hear that there's just so much to go into all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Into this particular line right here alone. That's incredible.
Right. Yeah, just that line. When you look at Atabey, little more approachable when you talk about the story behind it. Atabey, all Atabeys are aged for a minimum of 5 years post-roll. And it's not only aging. Like when I started, I've been smoking cigars for what feels like forever. And I always knew cigar aging as if I bought a box today and I opened my humidor in 5 years, that was a 5-year-old cigar. And that's 100% true. But Nelson puts the cigars through the aging process. So it's just picking up all those different cedar notes when it's sitting in that humidor. So you think of like scotches and whiskeys, why do you use all these different oaks? And, why does the rum use a charred oak barrel? Or why does the wine use, these different, a difference between a new oak or an aged oak? And it's because the oak is so porous and it acts as a filter, right? The liquid goes into that wood and then comes back out and it captures those notes. So it's the same thing with cigars. That humidity that's in the humidor, it soaks into those different cedars, and then when it comes back out, it's going into the cigar, and then the cigar kind of flushes it back out when it's going down to 40%, and then breathes it back in when it's going to 70. So yeah, it's an amazing process. It takes some time, and he's dedicated to really not pushing any product out to market.
Understand. And yeah, it's a huge difference between sitting in the humidors with walk-ins versus if a guy has, I don't know, like a Tubador, for instance, you're
Right.
not going to get that same experience, obviously, with the notes coming from the wood itself.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
So speaking of Atabey, Atabey has been one of my personal favorites as far as going to spend a bit extra money when it comes to a cigar. You know, everybody has their comfortability price range, and that's usually where you stick. You know, oh, I'm a $8 to $12 guy. I'm a $12 to $15 guy. But every once in a while, you know, you want to splurge. You know, you've got Padron, you've got Opus, a few in the El Septimo line that are super pricey. Uh, then for me, it's been Atabey. Atabey's been my top cigar for when people ask me, hey, you know, I want to spend a little bit more. I want to come a uh, little higher end. What would you suggest? I always go Atabey. It's a little bit lighter than some of the other cigars that I mentioned. Um,
Mm.
but for me, it's just such a fantastic experience every time I smoke one. I remember that I had been looking for them for a while, and I ended up finding them in Fresno at Cigars Limited. And I had called to see if they had them. The guy said yes. We went in, and I was like, "Oh, I don't see them anywhere." So I asked. I was like, "Hey, man, I heard you guys said Atabey, but I don't see them. Am I looking in the wrong spot?" So he takes me in there. They have like a secret drawer, and he
Right.
pulls
Right.
out this drawer, and they're just all in there. And I'm like, "Well, I'll take two of those." Uh,
Right.
and ever since that first time, I was hooked. I was just absolutely hooked on Atabey. What can you tell everybody that makes that cigar just so special?
Yeah. So you know, it's almost like when you open that drawer. For some reason, I was playing like the James Bond song in my head. It was almost like, you know, there should be a light, and it's like dun 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 dun. But what makes Atabey special? You know, it's that process, right? Like you can take, you know, we've all, you know, when I first started smoking cigars too, I was buying, you know, cigars from my retailer. I was buying them. There was no online. I was buying them through a catalog, and I was just intrigued by the stories. And there were some great, you know, companies out there that were marketing the cigars, you know, differently, and they had a story behind it. And for a while there, you know, you would hear these stories of, oh, we found tobacco in the back of the warehouse. It's, you know, 30 years old, and it's this and that. You know, aged tobacco is obviously very good, and it helps the cigar. You don't want to have young tobacco, but the fermentation process, that first step, is so important for tobacco. So even if it's aged tobacco, it might be 30-year-old tobacco. If it wasn't fermented properly, if it wasn't stored properly, it's not going to be, it's not going to make the cigar that much better. Yes, it's older, but you know, when you forget about it, that means it's not even on your, you know, your P&L, so you don't even know it's there. So it's really not costing the company more. But it's not only the tobacco. When you know, again, when you look at scotches, whiskeys, wines, you know, what makes the same liquid that they use for one spirit, and then they have it 5 years of age in the barrels, like it continues to soak in to, you know, to 12 years of age. You can taste the complexity of the, you know, of that spirit. So it's the same thing with the tobacco. When with Atabey, Byron, and even Bandolero, the more introductory line for the selected tobacco portfolio, when you look at the line and you see that elevated price, and you're wondering why, it's the aging process. It's cleaning the cigar. So if you can imagine the cigar at, you know, 75% even, because when I say it goes to 40 to 70, that varies, but he'll bring it up to 75%. So the tobacco is very wet, it's breathing in all the humidity, but it goes down to 40, it's shrinking. When it shrinks, it's purging out, you know, like I said, any other impurities. So it's that process, and then actually sitting on the cigars while they're in these, you know, different rooms. So it's the length of time. You know, if Nelson put the cigars out, you know, after a year, yeah, they'd probably be a little bit less. But cleaning the cigar, having it going through an aging process, is what allows the end consumer, like, you know, like you were talking about, it changed your perception of what a cigar should be. When I
Mhm.
first sat down and tried Atabey for my first time, it's when I was interviewing for the United Cigar position, and I was taken aback. I even came from Las Vegas. I was in the cigar industry out there for 14 years before this, and we sold the Macanudo Portofino on their cigarette hostess trays for $20. I thought that was offensive, but it's a business. We're on the casino floor. You're paying a little bit more. You have a captured audience. They need a cigar, so it was $20. But I thought $20 was expensive. And then when I sat down and learned about Atabey, like $20-$30. I don't know. But then I smoked it. It changed my perception of what, a cigar could be. And so that, that elevated price point comes from that extra aging, the proper aging process of a cigar.
Definitely makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And especially the part about those prices in Vegas. Captured audience is a perfect word for it. I'm going to start using that more often. These hats that we're going to start selling, they're $75, but that's because you can't get them anywhere else. You're with us. You're stuck.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But
yeah, and if there's we can, and Vegas is a great example, right? We can do glitz and glamour, and a burger there, it might be more expensive, whatever, $4 or $5 more, or $20 more for a burger that in your hometown you might pay less for, but you're paying for the experience and the show and the smoke and mirrors. So yeah, there are some cigars that have elevated prices, and maybe they haven't gone through the process, or the cigar, the aging, or to make it worth that. So, and we've had people say that they don't really care for Atabey, it's overpriced. And, there's a market for everybody, but I'd say on the majority that I've spoken to or heard from, they've enjoyed the experience, and it's something different and unique. So I know Nelson's doing something right for it, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, and again, like I said, it's been one of my favorites ever since the first time I got the opportunity to smoke one. And then again, I want to thank the luxury guys, because they've sent out quite a few in their stuff, which has been fantastic for us. So, especially out here in California, when we have those extra price tags with the taxes, it's always nice to get one of those boxes with them inside. Not gonna lie, guys.
Yeah, yeah, no, they do a great job. They've been big supporters of the entire United portfolio, from Atabey down, and I don't want to say down, but the more approachable, everyday production cigars. They've supported the entire United portfolio, and they really make it look clean, and give you a lot of good information.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot a bit. You're gonna celebrate something. What in the portfolio are you gonna go to? Is it gonna be a choice between Byron and Atabey? Is there something else that you feel special in there that you're gonna reach for? What are you gonna go for? When the Dodgers win the World Series.
Holy moly! I'll give you Dodgers only because of Mookie Betts. I'll celebrate that. Yeah, that's a great question, and it's hard, and I don't want to give the boxed up in with a bow answer, but it's so hard to pick. When you're talking about Atabey and Byron, and then in the Byron line, just to begin with, you guys are smoking two different Byrons, completely different smoking experience. But I'd say for me, because I just smoked one last night, the Atabey Lancero, the Spiritus, is to me just absolutely phenomenal. So you had mentioned earlier that the Atabey line is a little bit lighter, but if you smoke one of the smaller ring gauges, and like the Spiritus, that Lancero, there's a little more pepper, a little more strength up front, and the retrohale is even a little more powerful. So the Spiritus to me is just kind of the one that I like to celebrate with, because if I have time to celebrate, I usually have time to sit down, focus on what I'm smoking, and I'd like to smoke the Lancero.
I'll have to agree with 100%. I'm a huge Lancero fan. I have a humidor where half of it's just completely dedicated to Lanceros. And I actually did smoke the Atabey Lancero once. I've only found it once in the wild, because I don't like to order online. I just like to buy them in the shop. So, and this was at Ambassadors in Phoenix. Vartan, he had them there.
Vartan.
And I was like, oh, I've never seen that size before. And he's going over the whole thing with me. I was like, yeah, you don't have to say anymore, bro. I'm buying it. Don't worry about it.
Sold.
Yeah, it was a good experience. Vartan knows his stuff.
Yeah, he does. He's been an incredible supporter since basically day one. He's embraced it. He's romanced it. He's we celebrated his 25th anniversary with the Ambassador 25th anniversary collection humidor. So it was a 40-count humidor. It had 10 extra aged Bandoleros, 10 Atabey, 10 Byron, and then 10 Alfonso. So that was the first release of the Alfonso line, which should start shipping to retailers I think next week or by the end of this month. They'll be shipping.
Very nice. Very nice.
Fantastic.
So
And
yeah, he
from
has a
that
beautiful unit.
yeah, from that lineup, what can people expect as far as maybe some details you can give them so they know what to expect when they get into shops?
On Alfonso.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Alfonso was an interesting project with Nelson. He started using. I talked about the oak, and French oak is just it's a beautiful wood. Has so much complexity to it. Offers so much to typically wines and spirits. So Nelson wanted to kind of experiment with what oak would do in the humidors. So he started using a little bit more Nicaraguan Ligero in the Alfonso line, and then started using oak inside of the aging rooms. And what you have on the Alfonso, we have six different vitolas, a more medium plus in body, but still that selected tobacco style of very clean on the palate. Very smooth on the draw. It's almost, I don't know if you guys are smoking now, when you take a draw, it's almost as if you're wondering if you're getting any smoke because it's just so clean. But as you let it rest and hit all the corners of your palate, then you start to see all these flavors start to come out, and that it's that cleaning of the tobacco that just makes it incredibly unique. So the Alfonso will be the same thing, just a little more. It's almost like an in between on Atabey and Byron. You got a little mixture of the two.
Nice. Very nice.
And I did want to touch on Bandolero.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets, well, at least here where we're at, it doesn't get as much of attention as the Byron and the Atabey, which I think is a shame. Because I've tried the Bandoleros that we have here in town, and they're absolutely fantastic. Price points a little bit more agreeable to most people's wallets, which I like.
Yeah.
What can you tell people about it? If they're like, oh, I want Byron, I want Atabey. It's like, well, give Bandolero a try.
Right. Yeah. So the focus, when I started with United 2016, the portfolio was already pretty extensive. We had at the time about 15 different lines, and when I was noticing on social media, hey, let's push this out, get people to understand the lines. By the time I got to the end, people were almost forgetting about the beginning, and then I had to recycle and go back through it. So then the focus turned to just the top of the portfolio, which is Atabey. And really, when you look at the cigar, Atabey and Byron are almost equal. So I focus on Atabey. And so when you look at the portfolio, a lot of people will just say, oh, I want Atabey or Byron, because those are the ones that are known. But Bandolero is in the portfolio of Nelson Alfonso. It's in the selected tobacco family. So it goes through the same process. Bandolero is aged for a minimum of 1 to 2 years post-roll. And that aging process still goes through the same aging process. But Bandolero is just kind of like you have the two superstar. It's like you have Manning, the Manning brothers at the top, and then the next kid that comes up is like, well, who's this guy? It's Manning blood. Like, he's going to be a superstar, but you just have to give him a chance and experience it. So, Bandolero is that line. It's approachable in price, going through the same process, just not as much aging as Atabey and Byron. And with the Bandolero line, you have 3 different blends, so you can really experience, so many different tobaccos. There's the Aventureros line, the Serie A, which uses a dark Ecuadorian wrapper. So it's going to have a little more, pepperiness and body up front. Uses Peruvian Seco. Nelson loves to use Peruvian tobacco. Really, all of his cigars, you'll see a lot of Peruvian influence. So that Serie A uses Peruvian Seco and Nicaraguan. So you're going to have, body more medium plus. And when you go to the Serie C, the Clandestino line, he uses Peruvian Ligero. Now, even though we use the word Ligero, Peruvian Ligero is much more subtle of an experience than a Nicaraguan that we all know as like this, or even Dominican, like this powerhouse. Mm-hmm. So the Clandestino line uses Peruvian Ligero and also some Nicaraguan tobaccos, but it's a little more subtle. It's a lighter Ecuadorian wrapper. And then when you go over to the Traficante line, the Serie T, that uses Nicaraguan Ligero. And it's more Ligero based and a little bit of Peruvian, and still more mid-grade, medium shade on the wrapper. So that one's going to give you a little more pepper. But I think the Serie A is going to be the powerhouse out of the three. But yeah, it's a beautiful line.
Could not agree more. Yeah,
Mhm.
the flavor profiles on all of them. I think there's something a little bit for everybody kind of situation. And you were talking price point for a second. When in the beginning, like a little more favorable than the others, but it's just I think they are a value for what you get. It really
Mhm.
is. It's just some phenomenal sticks, and at least a couple lounges in town
Mhm.
that do carry them, they move very quickly. Like
Mhm.
people understand as soon as they get them in hand and try it out, they gotta try the next one. They gotta try the next one. So it's always something easy to recommend, great to smoke, and a really good time enjoying that with other people. So
Mhm.
I'm a very big
Yeah.
fan of the Bandolero line.
Thank,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Couldn't agree more with that. Oh shoot, I had something on the top of my head. I just totally lost it.
Oh, then I have a little something
Go ahead,
that you
brother.
mentioned earlier. This comes a little closer to home for us, a little more personal note, and I believe Frankie pointed this out to me on the Instagram. There's tacos afoot, and we need to
Oh,
know in your neck of the woods where can we get the best tacos when we come visit.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Before he answers that, uh, if people haven't been to his Instagram yet, I pointed this out, like you said, I pointed this out to you.
Yeah,
Besides family, I don't think I've seen more pictures of Taco on anybody else's profile with such a big smile on their face. And I thought we love tacos. But yeah, apparently we're put to shame. So yeah, I kept noticing. I was looking through your stuff and I was like, dude loves tacos, man.
like
street. So to clarify, street tacos. It's not your
Yeah,
everyday, tacos. It's not. Well,
not the
although,
Jack in
look,
the Box
I'll
stuff.
right. I'll say that growing up, those those midweek. I think it might have been Tuesday, but the Tuesday night, or what was it? The Ortega, or the hard shell tacos. Those nights I still go back to, and it's kind of just brings you back. But when I post tacos, or I talk about tacos, or bring them up, it's street tacos. Like I want
Yes.
the taco truck, or I want the authentic. It's not even a restaurant. It's you're grab and go, and they might have a table for you to sit, but it's the authentic. I want it very plain. Give me a nice corn tortilla. Um, just the protein, whatever you're choosing, whatever meat you want, and then just give me the onions and cilantro and a little bit of salsa, and I'm good.
Nothing better.
Two
Nothing
two
better.
bites and yeah, 2 bites and I'm out.
Yep.
love it,
Yep.
love it.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is
Yeah.
fantastic. All right, brother. We're gonna let you go. I want to thank you for spending this time with us.
Yes.
And if there's anything you want to say before you go, like what can people expect in the future from you guys? You guys are going to show some off at TPE, PCA next year. If you could talk about it, we'll listen.
Yeah. So no, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys sitting down with me. Like I said earlier, on a Wednesday, and yeah, for the United portfolio, we just released our Red Anchor, which is it's a line that is over 250 years old. We were celebrating the anniversary of it this year, and we worked with the Kellner family on the blend because they're originally from Holland.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked the blend out with Kellner Jr. at the KBF factory. So it's a fantastic line. We only released one size this year, called the Admiral. It's 6 by 52, and that just hit the market last week. We had 250 boxes, and those went out to all the retailers. So those are gone. And then next year we should have the additional sizes that we'll be releasing. So no, this year's been great. With Terra Nova, Montosa, as I mentioned, the firecrackers just been getting a lot of attention. Our limited releases that we've been doing with it. So it's been helping retailers sell the core line of firecracker with those limited releases. La Mezcla Cubana is just a great value cigar. It's a beautiful Rothschild with this light Ecuadorian wrapper, but just a little sweetness and just very very easy going cigar. Just your everyday. You wake up first thing in the morning, you're doing a commute. That's your cigar. So we've had a busy year, but next year we got a couple more things coming. Like I said, a few more vitolas for Red Anchor and a couple other things up our sleeve.
Fantastic.
I like it a lot.
Fantastic. So before we let you go, I'm going to say thank you again. And next Friday is our 5-year anniversary of doing this show. And I'm going to let you know right now, Atabey is definitely up there on choices for me to smoke on that show.
Yeah. Yep.
I appreciate that, to celebrate with an Atabey after for 5 years. A cigar that's aged for 5 years. Couldn't ask for anything more.
That's perfect. That's just destiny right there.
All right.
I appreciate you being here, brother.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys, the support and everything you guys are doing. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Awesome, guys. So that was Oliver over with United Cigars. Again, if you guys haven't yet tried Byron or Atabey or Bandolero or any of these other cigars in that lineup, you guys need to get on it. They're absolutely fantastic. And like you said, when they go through that extra purging of that raising and lowering the humidity, not only do you get the impurities out, but it's such a clean finish on your palate. It's unlike any other cigar I've ever had.
It's true. Very true. Very true.
All right, so I
We're
think
not
we
done
have
today.
another guest coming up. Yes,
Yes, we do.
let's bring him on.
All right, here we go.
There he is. What's going on, brother?
What's up, guys? Oh my God, what am I doing on this show? After Oliver, this is awesome. What
You know,
an
we've
awesome!
talked about it for so long of getting on each other's stuff, and we finally had to make it happen.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Atabey, Bandolero. Actually, I had my first Bandolero about a month ago.
Nice.
New lounge that opened up, and awesome cigar. Byron's are up there for me. Yeah, they just put out such a great cigar.
Mm-hmm.
United does, and one of the cigars that I loved also was the United collab that they did with Aladino last year. For the Aladino Corojo Maduro, right, which was the chocolate box, the chocolate pack. Phenomenal cigar, and I'm a big Foundation fan, so I love the firecrackers that they do with the wise man.
Yeah. Those firecrackers, man, those are awesome. I can't get enough of those things. I don't care which one it is. I'll smoke it.
Yep, great cigars.
So now that we have you on, brother, if for people who may not be familiar with who you are, let them know.
So, my name is Saran. Last name is going to take up 30 minutes for the show, so we're not going to get into that. I don't know how I got, but I run a private aviation management company here in West Palm Beach, and I also represent business aviation up in Washington. And during COVID, I've always smoked cigars since the mid 90s, so for 22 years or longer. But it was always casual and business settings sometimes, or just like maybe once a month I'd get together with buddies, and it was always be the same ones. It would be like Liga Privada, Padron, right? Something happened during COVID. I was closing on an aircraft deal, and I was up in Westchester, and I was on my way to Houston after that, and I was like, hey, let me just celebrate this moment, because it was a big airplane, biggest deal I've done, and it was COVID, and I pulled into a cigar shop, that I found on Yelp, and they were boarded up and had no inventory. And I was like, hey, let me go celebrate with the Padron. And he had none left, and he has Sin Compromiso from Steve Saka, right? Because he actually talked to me. He goes, so what kind of cigars do you like? I go, Padron, Liga Privada. He goes, all right, if you like Liga Privada cigar, it's Sin Compromiso by Steve Saka, who used to,
hey, brother, you're cutting in and out right now. I don't know if it's a bad connection.
Is it? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Is it sound or video?
It's both. They're both choppy.
I'm in the wind outside, so let me see what I can do here. But so they handed me a Sin Compromiso, and I thought it was an incredible cigar. And I just needed to find out why this cigar was good, and then with me, when I start doing something like that, it just takes on a whole new level. And and that really started the madness. And then I then found out I had an Instagram account that I started in 2012 that I never used. I had been off of social media for a while, around 2018, after there was a lot of political stuff with the president at the time and everything like that. And I just didn't want to hear it. So I got off of social media. And then I found out that, social media is a good way where the cigar smoking community comes together and educates each other. And I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I joined a couple of cigar clubs so I can try different cigars, and joined a certain club, and then really got a little bit more educated. And then, next thing you know, I'm usually camera shy, and there's a guy down in Texas. I don't know if you remember him, Ian Gutierrez, the vinyl cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was always on live, and just a cool guy. We connected, we chatted, and he had me come on, and then I don't know, it's taken on a whole new level from there. And now I'm on podcasts. People call me up for opinions. Lounge owners call me up, ask me what cigars they want to carry, almost like a consultancy thing. And me and a buddy of mine, we did a blend and dropped it in June. Just limited run, 700 cigars, and sold out in like 2 hours.
That's fantastic.
Very
And
nice.
we then this week we're dropping 4,000, and they're carried by Mardo, OGT, Wooden Indian Tobacco, and for pre-sale they've all sold out within minutes, which is crazy for me. And I think I ended up on being on some test panels for brands. And I think people start to understand the palate, and they gotta, in the community, we're all so close knit. We, kind of go with each other's palates, and if, hey, you know what, if Saran smoked this cigar and he posted it, let me go try it out. And hopefully, knock on wood, I haven't gone wrong there. So that's kind of my thing. The cigar thing has turned into a serious passion. And now blending our own cigars or working with, like the cigar that we just dropped, we did it with Aganorsa and for the Cigar Club, and that was a cool experience. And now all of a sudden we're working with a couple other, factories as well. I've gotten to be friends with some really cool people in this industry, a lot of cool people, which is what I love about the industry. But also, I never thought that, I'd go hang out with Matt Booth, you know what I mean? Or Pete Johnson, or Dr. Gabby Caffey, or that, kind of thing. And that's been, and everybody takes the time to help you learn, right?
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. I missed out on PCA this year, and I had a couple good invitations to go there, and luckily, thanks to you guys, I got to know what the scoop was there.
Glad to help. I hope to see you there next time, but glad we could help send that little bit away at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're dropping another cigar, different brand or different cigar in about 25 days for Halloween, and we're dropping a big amount on that, 5,000. And so if this madness continues, obviously I'll have to go to PCA and TPE and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's true. Yeah,
Definitely.
very true.
Yeah. So it's a hobby of mine. I'm a cigar consumer that just went nuts.
Nothing wrong with that. That's the best way to start it too. The passion's there already. You enjoy it. Might as well go the next step. Get in there, and So are you ever thinking like maybe this will be full time? Like maybe this will be something, or is it right now? Is like, you know what? I'm just enjoying what I'm doing. Keep growing, obviously, but don't go crazy, kind of thing.
Yeah. So look, for me, aviation has been my lifeblood and passion for 20 years. And, my wife will tell you that's the only thing I do well. But for the last 20 years of my life, I just, being a business owner and employing people, and I just didn't have a whole lot of balance, right? And the cigar thing actually has forced some balance because I get to take an hour and a half a day away, you know, and I'm so into it that I really don't think of airplanes, even though I do this most of the time here. I really don't think of airplanes. And, but, you know, I know enough about the business. It's very difficult to launch a brand that's sustainable, right? So I think that's why we're going about it the way we're going about it. And, but also when you do something, it requires your full commitment. You know what I mean? And I'm still young. I got, you know, it might be a good retirement thing after aviation, or you know, who knows? It could be. I'm definitely passionate about it, and but I also feel that I have a lot to learn in it. You know, I was listening to the gentleman before with United and talking about, you know, their blending process, their fermentation process, and things like that. And you know, that's something I'm getting into now. We felt it was part of our educational journey to actually put out our own cigar, right, in different various stages, and that's definitely taught us a lot about the leaf and, you know, what makes a cigar different, and you know, just the amazing different wrapper combinations and you know, things like that.
So I'm gonna ask you a question right there, brother. When people blend cigars, I'm always under the impression that there's two ways to blend a cigar. One, which I've heard people say that they did this when they blended their cigars. They said, you know what? I like cigar A. Give me something like cigar A, but less pepper, more chocolate. Or the second way I've heard people blend cigars is completely from the ground up. So you know what? I really like tobacco from this region. Let me get some of this. You know, let's try it with that and wrap it in this and go from there. When you guys came up with your cigar, were you guys more the, hey, you know, we like this cigar, but we want to tweak it? Or was it completely from the ground up? You guys decided to go something different?
That's a great question. So this first run, right? It was you know, a scenario where we actually went and got a lot of test blends that were pre-blended, right? You know, and smoked so many damn test blends, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's a little bit different when we were putting out a cigar for our friends, you know, this entire online community that knows us, you know what I mean? And especially like the cigar clowns, you know, we're on their taste test panel and they're kind of like our mentors with this. And you know, the bar was kind of high. So we're like, if we're only putting out less than 1,000, it's got to be, you know, it's got to hit, because you get, you know, 2 or 3 bad reviews out of 1,000. That's a high percentage versus, you know, 100,000, right?
Right.
For the big brands. And it seemed for the longest time that we wouldn't find the right cigar. And we smoked a lot of shitty. When you're smoking test blends, those are the worst cigars I've ever had. Right? Because look, if you go buy a cigar from a lounge, there's a reason why that cigar is produced, right? It's at least a certain level. But if you're smoking test blends unbanded from a factory, you know what I mean? Or different factories, you know, they could be pure crap, you know. And it was a very frustrating process.
We get it. We've been through the same thing, you know. We've had a few that had a little too much ammonia in them, and like, oh, just imagine it without the ammonia. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I don't know if I can do that. Yeah.
But this blend that we got, you know, and we also kind of created a community of cigar smokers that like Star Wars, and we called ourselves the Herfners, kind of like a cigar club, right? I underestimated how many cigar smokers like Star Wars.
I think the number's very high. Yeah.
It was extremely high, and you know, Aganorsa, I love their Corojo always, right? Their Corojo from Jalapa, you know, I think it's a very good wrapper tobacco, right? So then we got this stick from Aganorsa, and it really met all the criteria that we have, because when we go through taste testing, we look at the cold draw, the scent off the foot, the construction, the amount of transitions that we get. Because me and my partner, we like complex cigars. We like cigars that have dynamic range. That's kind of like our wheelhouse. And this one really hit it home. And we knew right away that we had to put this out. We had no idea that it would be received in the public like it was with the initial 700. And that's why we went back to Aganorsa and got another 5,000 made that we're dropping. The problem was the Corojo that was used for the cigar, the wrapper, had 3 years of age pre-roll, right? So that crop was from 2019, or 2018 rather. And the Criollo 98 binder, that had a year and a half worth of age, right? So these are two Polones that had a finite amount of tobacco, right? So we can't even, we could never turn this into a production cigar, ever, right?
Totally get that, yeah.
The other interesting part about the cigar that we really liked was that the filler was not Nicaraguan. Aganorsa got, Jamastran Seco, Jamastran Velado, mixed with a little bit of Piloto Cubano from the Dominican, and created a very mild filler, right? That really made the Corojo shine out.
Very nice.
And the result was one of our favorite cigars is Rojas Street Tacos.
Oh, that's great stuff.
Right. And that was, it was very Rojas Street Tacos-esque with the amount of different flavors and the complexity and everything like that. We put a funky band on it. It's called The Chosen One because that was the first cigar we chose, right? It's got a,
nice.
We had some little Star Wars stuff. We put a Vader thing on it. I actually got one right here. And we never thought that it would sell out so quickly. We never thought that the community would take to it so quickly. Mardo sold out in 10 minutes the night before last.
Very
nice. Their allocation. And also for two guys that are just cigar consumers, for retailers to say, hey, we want this cigar. Right? It's kind of crazy,
No, that's wonderful. Yeah. That's wonderful, man. We know Mardo. Jar down there. He's awesome. All those guys down there are fantastic. So
right by you guys, OGT.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh. They're they carried our stick this week. I'm actually gonna get on live with Eric. Super guy. But I also, I love boutique cigars and these micro batch cigars like Sinistro, Cabby Caffey, Paul Stulak. Those kind of expressions, I think, are just phenomenal expressions of cigars.
Oh, heck yeah.
And that's kind of been my big thing. I don't smoke. I smoke 3 different cigars a day, every day.
I like the way that it sounds right there, especially, because there's so much out there that I think that's the right way to go about it. If you have the time and if you enjoy it, I think 3 different cigars a day is kind of almost like an apple a day and keeps the doctor with situation. You got to have such a palette out there because, like you said, just naming a couple companies you named, wonderful cigars there alone, and I'm sure we could name more and then still forget like 12, 15 other companies in this time period, and then think like half an hour like, oh, shit, I forgot to mention these guys or this other company. Because when you first you mentioned Foundation, obviously we talked United, and gosh dang, there was one other one too that you Aladino right off the bat. I'm like, yep, already speaking my language because these are companies I love, and that list does not slow down. It just keeps expanding every year.
I think it's the best time ever to be a cigar consumer.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. I mean, the amount of different cigars, different blends, different choices. I know San Andreas is big right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 5 or 6 years ago, people were kind of like San Andreas. You know what I mean? And that's Connecticut broadleaf. But there's so many. Edward was talking about tobacco from Peru, right? couple weeks ago, I had a Peruvian Puro
Nice.
by Claudio Scroy, who, and people don't know this, the first tobacco was that was ever grown was grown in something starts with a T Valley in Peru, right? And he wanted to put out a Peruvian Puro, and it was a very different experience. Very different flavors, very different texture, but it was a great experience.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, given that you smoke so many different cigars, you know, if you can maybe narrow it down to 5 cigars that people may not have heard of that they should definitely try, what would you say to them?
That is such a tough question. Oh God, how do I even? There are, Southern Draw is a small batch company that's great, right? The most cigars I smoke are Tatuaje because I've never had a bad Tatuaje. You know what I mean? It might not be my preferred flavor profile, depending on which SKU. And I keep on making fun of Pete Johnson every time I talk to him. I was like, dude, how many SKUs do you have? Like, I can't tell them apart. You know what I mean? I love Dunbarton, but there are some small companies that put out Sinistro, right?
Oh yeah.
Right, they're over in LA. James and Coleman. They put out a cigar called the NV.
Oh
Yep.
man, phenomenal.
Hard to find. Absolutely phenomenal cigar. Those are the kind of cigars that I really enjoy. And I love the story behind the people that put out the cigar. For me, the cigar has to have a story behind it. You know what I mean? So there's so many cigars out there. I just had a Man of War Ruination. They use AJ Fernandez, and that was a great cigar. So there's so many cigars out there to really get into if you have a good tobacconist that can help you out, or for you to try out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and now since he brought up Sinistro, for those people watching right now, don't forget next Friday is our 5-year anniversary show. We're gonna be giving away boxes of cigars. All you gotta do is watch, answer a couple questions, or if you're a Patreon member, Facebook subscriber, you get a chance to win. You can join our birthday contest. All you gotta do is put your birthday on the picture, on the comments, and you can win a prize because we'll do a random wheel. You can go to our page, Cigars, Whiskey, and Beautiful Women, and pinned to the top of that page is our best ash contest. You don't have to be the longest ash, just the best ash. Make it interesting.
Coolest picture you got. That's all you need to do. Yeah.
And it may not be the Envy, but we do have a nice box of Mr. White Gold Edition with the matching hat that we're going to give away.
We love that.
Mr.
Cigar.
White Gold is a great cigar. That I believe in talking to Coleman, he told me that's the most amount of Bandolero tobacco they've ever put in a cigar.
Oh yeah, it worked out. It might have been a gamble. I don't know if they just know because I love pretty much everything Sinistro puts out. I don't think there's one that I don't smoke. And for some reason, that white gold and that, like you said, the most Andullo that they put into a cigar, it works. It works very well.
I think John in the comments put his birthday on there, Mike. Is that what I'm seeing?
John, there's that. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that comment. 62. All right, brother. Let's make sure we get that into the face. If you are on Facebook, if you are not, let me know in the comments, and I will get you on there myself.
Yeah, we'll put you on there ourselves.
I'll add you because not everyone's on Facebook. So don't worry about
John's a young boy.
But yeah, guys, tons of ways to win prizes. Like I said, we'll be giving away the Mr. White Gold Edition. We've got a box of Diamond Crown out there. We've got a box of Castagli out there to give away. Artista, tons of different cigars to give away, guys.
I gotta get your address and then send you a couple of these, man.
Oh, definitely, bro.
Appreciate it.
And get your take on these. I mean, Stogie Press gave us a 93.
Nice.
Very nice.
505 Cigar Review, who I learned a lot from the last couple of years and helped me develop my palate. I think we're probably right number 2 on his top 10 for 2022 right now. So that it's just been crazy.
We got to hang
Cannot
out
wait
with
to
Dan
try
for a
this
little
out.
while when we were at PCA. But he was
He's a good
running around.
dude.
He was only there for a little while. I think he had to leave like Sunday morning or something.
Something like that. But he was working.
Yeah, he was hustling around
Yeah.
getting his interviews in.
What are you guys smoking, by the way?
Right now, I'm having the Lord Byron, the 5-year. So friggin' loving the heck out of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm doing the 4-year. I think he said it was the 21st century, if I heard him correctly. But yeah,
I
big fan.
decided to light up series, Partagas series E, I think.
Very nice.
Yep, series E number 6, because it's half an hour cigar.
Perfect.
There you go.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
So speaking of Cuban cigars, then, are you? I know you said you like smaller boutique brands. That's what you smoke daily. But do you find a place for a lot of Cubans in your rotation, or do you stay away from them? What's your take on Cubans? And if you have like a favorite or two, what would you recommend to people?
So I like the fuller body Cubans, right? So I really love Ramon Alones. Obviously, Eva is more of a fuller body Partagas, and black out Bolivars, right?
Oh heck yeah.
Now, I don't. I'm not one of those people that say that Cubans are the best, right? Because I love New World cigars and I love the complexity and the variations that you get off of New World cigars. I think there's a thing with Cuban cigars because it's hard to get.
True.
People, put it differently, but for me, I have I have about 3,500 cigars at home, and I would say I have about 250 Habanos, because I aged them a very long time. Because for me, the window for Habanos is from the date set up on the box is probably their best window is somewhere between 6 to 8 years. So I like right now the 2017 Ramon Alones Superiores, right, is something I like. I enjoy. But if Habanos have a certain flavor profile for me, like that sourdough bread notes and things like that. And if I'm in the mood for that, I go for that. You know what I mean? I don't discriminate when it comes to cigars. I'll smoke every single, I'll smoke cigars from anywhere, from any brand, at least once to, figure out what that expression was.
Oh heck yeah. That's the best way to do it. Keep an open mind, and you'll learn what's your favorite and what you like to gravitate towards. But being able to go beyond that and try other things that maybe you didn't experience it well in one blend over here, but all of a sudden it's phenomenal in this one.
Yeah.
It just speaks to the volume of complexity.
Yeah, and my palate evolves, right? So, I remember in 2021, every cigar I pulled subconsciously was like a darker Maduro, right? But now I kind of pull the Dominican Habanos and Corojos and I'm really appreciating the nuances of Connecticut shade, right?
Yeah.
If I have friends of mine that I'm teaching how to smoke cigars and stuff like that, I go with the complex cigars first, not the mild cigars, because that way they train their palate and then they can pull out those flavors and those nuances. Because Connecticut's are number one. It's very tough to put out a good Connecticut cigar.
Very true. Very true.
Right. I mean, you mentioned Atabey. I mean, that is a very Sober Mesa Brule for me is a great Connecticut cigar, or Aventura Queen's Pearls, right? But it's tough to do, and then you get these nuanced flavors, nuanced transitions, that develop as your palate develops. So now I pull more Connecticut cigars than I actually than ever before.
Yeah. Do you think because a lot of Connecticut's are so mild, compared to their darker wrappered counterparts. You know, like you have the New World Cameroon, you have the New World Connecticut. Um, do you find it harder to be able to pick out notes from that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, on the retrohale, it's easier, right? Obviously, and that's what I recommend to new cigar smokers is learn how to retrohale, because you'll get so much more enjoyment. When I started retrohaling, man, I started loving cigars.
It's
You know,
it's a whole different experience. It really is night and day.
yeah. But you know, if you're into transitions and things like that and nuances, then you know Connecticut's are a little tougher because you have to look for those, right?
Right.
Because Connecticut's are usually creamy, they're mild, you know, and the subtleties, right? They don't hit you in the face like a Sinistro cigar would, you know what I mean, or a Romacraft would. But as you develop, then you start pulling out those transitions and flavors and things like that, and I think they become a lot more dynamic and a lot more enjoyable.
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think was it Johnson when he was blending, he wanted something with some nuts to it, you know?
Yeah.
You have, like you said, Romacraft, they have the testosterone, you know, a little amped up.
Mambaco, yeah.
Sinistro definitely does everything to an extreme as far as strength goes. Some of them are a little bit less, but definitely on the stronger side for most of the time. And I think we're seeing now, like you said, a nuance, those flavor versus strength. So you're going a little more for the Connecticut's are a good way to put it, but just in general, something that's not focused on how strong the cigar is, but how the flavor affects your palate.
Yeah, and how it develops over the length of the cigar.
100%.
You know, you know, I like cigars where there's a good pepper in the beginning to kind of get my, you know, senses going. Right?
Yeah.
And then I like it to smoothen out. And then towards the end, I kind of want it to come back sometimes. You know what I mean? Just because, you know, so I like those kind of, you know, so when we're looking at cigars and we're looking at a cigar to put out, you know, those are the things we look for, is dynamic range construction and yeah, John, flavor wheel, you know, that's helped me out a lot. I have a little bit of a unique thing when you watch me on lives, when I describe the flavor notes I'm getting. I try and kind of, you know, people laugh at me, you know, they all joke around with me, like my nickname in the cigar world is like the Nutella Bandit. Because I was on a clown taste test once and they broadcast these on YouTube, and there's 13 of us, and I remember January we're taste testing this Lancero, and it was a Nicaraguan Maduro Lancero, which are also very rare, and I was like, hey, I get Nutella out of this. So ever since then, that's what everybody, you know, so I'll say, like, I get Nutella, Cracker Jacks, and, you know, Mars bars, or, you know, just something that somebody can relate to that they can go buy at a grocery store. You know what I mean?
I've never seen that on the flavor wheel, but I will say that, yeah, I love it. You know, way back when we started with Luxury, one of their first boxes, they gave you a little paper flavor wheel.
Yeah.
And I still have that thing to this day, because you might be smoking a cigar and you're like, that is so familiar. What is that? And then you'll go through the flavor wheel and it's like, that's what it is. And yeah, they're super, super helpful. But I want to go back to the question he had before.
Oh yeah, the Foundry.
For
I
you,
believe. Yeah.
have you smoked any Foundry cigars?
No, and they've been on my list for sure. Foundry has been on my list. What's the new one out of Del Rey? Freud.
Man.
You know, Freud cigars.
Yeah, Freud cigars are some good stuff. The Super Ego was really tasty. And as far as like John right there, it's crazy how many amazing. Again, this is such a great time to be a consumer, because you can mention cigars in these comments right now, and there are some that I have not had a chance to try. Cannot wait to try. I am so.
There's so many. I mean, one of the newer cigar brands that I've really enjoyed is a brand called Family by Loyalty.
Oh yeah,
those guys are awesome.
Alan and him and I have become friends, and they use the Blackbird factory, and that blender, Papo Caballo. I mean, they nicknamed the horse. I mean, he comes up with some really good blends with Sumatra and Kubra and things like that. And that's what I geek out on. You know, is these blenders that have been doing doing this for so long, and I think they're magicians. Like Luciano Morales at Pichardo, and some of the stuff that he's done for Crown Heads in the last couple of years, absolutely phenomenal. I think there's so much left to be explored with different tobacco combinations and different ways of growing tobacco that we've only touched the surface. You know what I mean?
It's John. It's like being a kid in a candy store right there.
Yeah.
A much better for you candy store too, because there's no sugar in this. All right, a little better. I got to work on this gut anyway, so it's a little nicer than going to that candy store any day. And speaking of like the Mars bars and stuff, don't let them joke on you too much, because this guy too. I forget which cigar it was, but you're describing
It's
like
the Bloodline Maduro.
Yeah, like sugar cookie dough or something, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then I smoke it too. I'm like, all right, fine, you're right. Okay, I'm wrong.
For me, because I guess people have started watching us review cigars online, right?
Yeah.
And for a while there, and we still do it every Saturday, we would pick up what we consider a legendary cigar from yesteryear.
Nice.
Every Saturday at 2:00, and then a couple of times we had Pete Johnson on when we were smoking the RC 184. Or no, the El Triunfador Lancero. We had Matt Booth on when we were smoking the Death Bucket, right?
Nice.
And when people are watching us, I always feel that if they want to go try the cigar, it's something that is accessible to them. That when you describe the cigar, right? You read these cigar reviews online, and they're like, I'm tasting, cinnamon from Alaska. That was a joke.
Oh yeah, I have Alaska cinnamon all the time. Yeah, definitely.
Alaskan cinnamon, like what the, come on, or the favorite one I ever read was, I'm getting, notes of tonka bean. I'm like, what the is a tonka bean, man? What is the name of my show? Well, we don't have a show. We just it's a bunch of guys. We get together on Instagram Live, and usually it's on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. There's a bunch of guys that we rotate around, and we pick like a legendary cigar, and then we rank it. But it has to be a cigar from previous years, not in production. One of these unicorn scenarios that people go for. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and then it kind of brings it back, like Amazon Basin. The 2017 Amazon Basin was just, phenomenal. And there's a big discussion that we have where, why don't cigar manufacturers put the vintage on? Right?
Yeah.
Now, Michael Herklotz is doing that with Ferriatega because he's a wine guy, right? But people don't realize that even these core lines that have been around on shelves and they get produced every year, it's a different crop every year from a different season.
Right.
And talk about how good these master blenders are. They'll taste the cigar and they'll go, wait a minute, even though it's the same exact ratios of filler and everything like that, and they'll go, different crop, tastes a little bit different, we got to add a little bit of this to get it back to this, and that is crazy.
The fact that they can do that year after year after year is incredible.
It is absolutely crazy, but you see it with these limited edition drops like Amazon Basin, like the 2021 Amazon Basin, very different from that 2017 Amazon Basin that should go down in the annals of history.
Oh, heck yeah. Wonderful freaking
Right?
cigar.
Yeah. And completely different tobacco from what we were used to smoking at the time when it came out.
And real quick, that was John that was asking about the show?
Yeah.
John, his Instagram handle is right there by his name. So you can go to Instagram and follow him there and catch the show at 2 on Saturdays, which I think is, 11 our time?
Oh, yeah.
And look, guys, our shows, where they're not shows. It's nothing like these two guys that put on like this really professional setup. It's just a bunch of cigar smokers getting together and we talk and people watch us.
That's what I like, though. That's what I watch.
Now, did you guys already pick out a cigar for this Saturday, or you guys have yet to announce it?
So what we've done and hopefully I can squeeze it in because I'm traveling a lot the next couple of days. But what we've done the last 4 weeks is we started out with Las Calaveras, 2017, 2018, 2019. We did 2020 last weekend, or 2021 last weekend. So we're doing this year's Las Calaveras this weekend, just so that everybody can see that the difference in Las Calaveras blends.
I gotta try. I haven't tried this year's. We were down at 3-1, and I mean this humidor was incredible. I mean they had everything as far as boutiques and limited edition boutiques go, and they had it there, and it was between that and the new Cavalier, you know. And I'm a huge Cavalier fan.
The Inner Circle.
No. The what is it? Shoot.
You have it in your humidor. The
Oh,
inner
no,
circle's great too.
Prospector.
Oh yeah, that one. There we go.
Yes, thank you.
And so I grabbed that. I grabbed two of them actually. I grabbed two of every one, and then so we're sitting down with the owner, having a drink, you know, talking about his place. The first time we'd been there, but we'd known him for a while. And so at the end of the night, I said, hey, you know, I gotta go pay for these cigars real quick. He's like, no, don't worry, it's my gift to you. Thank you for coming out. I was like, well, shit, you know what? I gotta go back to the humidor real quick. I forgot something.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, I had the two in my hand, and I was like, I gotta go Cavalier. I'm just a bigger Cavalier fan. But I gotta go back.
You know what?
22.
I'm a huge, you know, I remember Cavalier, you know, early on, I would walk past him in the humidor because I thought it was like gimmicky.
Oh,
right?
the
With the gold leaf, with the gold leaf and everything like that. And somebody told me, like, hey, you got to try this. And I remember I had the white, Cavalier white,
Yep.
Which is a Connecticut, you know, and that was a little bit more of a fuller bodied Connecticut.
True.
Which I loved, right? And I fell in love, and then I had the black, the USA Limited, the Viso Jalapa, which is a great cigar. And you know, Sebastian is just such a nice, you know, big teddy bear, you know. So I'm a huge fan of Cavalier, and that's just it just that to me shows that you should try something out. And they started their factory in Danley, you know, and they're putting out some great cigars. Inner Circle, I have not done the Prospector yet. I've got 3 of them, and the problem is there's so many cigars. I don't know, like my lineup is all messed up. But Inner Circle really hit it with me, you know. That like molasses, medicinal, like sarsaparilla kind of, you know, tone, you know, notes and everything like that. They're a great company, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a pleasure every time we get to talk to him. We actually got to smoke the Inner Circle with him at PCA, which was a great experience. So,
heck yeah.
I was so jealous of you guys. The only thing I had going for me while you guys were at PCA was Henderson Ventura gave me OGT just ran out of our cigars and they want more.
Nice.
Yeah, that's crazy. Henderson Ventura gave me a Barber Rojas in February.
Mm-hmm.
During the Great Smoke.
Nice.
Down here, right? And you know, this was after him and I went in my BMW to go pick up like Turkish food, and I got it up to like 130 miles an hour, and he was like, and he told me, he's like, dude, don't smoke it until I tell you to. And I was sitting there looking at this damn cigar in my Audi for how many months, right? You know, and then on the flight over, when he was flying over to Vegas, he kind of posted like, hey, he posted a picture. I was like, does that mean I can smoke that? He goes, yeah, smoke it tomorrow.
Nice.
You know, and that was the only one that I could share with you guys. And you guys were sitting there going with, you know, the Inner Circle, Olmec, and all these cool cigars that dropped that piece. Verico Blue, you know, with Tatuaje. All these cool cigars that dropped at PCA, you guys got to try. You know.
It is a really good time, not gonna lie. Yeah. It's a wonderful experience to get to try those things. When they're first announcing it was just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and this year there were a lot more boutique brands at PCA, and now with that announcement they made that they're going to have Boutique Alley, at next year's
Yeah.
PCA because it's expensive for these small companies to get there. You know what I mean?
And I think the reason a lot of them got to get a chance to go is because there's quite a few companies that were huge that didn't show up. They didn't come. They opted out, and I think the PCA was like, hey, excuse me, was like, hey, we need to make some revenue. We need to get some of these smaller companies in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was
John's
kind of
correct.
a blessing. Guys.
HBC has, you know, HBC hotcake is always in my lineup. Always
Yeah.
in my humidor. The only problem I have with HBC is that Reiner is like one of the best looking people I've ever met.
Yeah, I'm a
And
huge
he's
fan of the
fucking,
hot cakes and all that stuff. Yeah, fantastic stuff from HUC.
not only is he good looking, he smells good too.
Brother,
It's like, you know,
we are at time.
Shoot,
I
yeah.
gotta get to the bank, which is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for being on. Finally we got to be on a show together, which is great.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Is there anything else you want to say before we let you go?
You know, I think the cigar community is great, and I think you know, right now is the best time, and it would be nice to see the cigar industry really band together in the face of. And we've had some wins with the FDA,
Mm-hmm.
but the way to tackle that is for all of us as a community, not just the brands, but the consumers, to make sure that the lawmakers understand that this is a culinary product.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a completely natural product, and therefore, you know, you regulate it like you do restaurants and food, and then, you know, and these master blenders, they're artisanal chefs. You know, this is
Yeah.
a completely handmade product, and I think the community also needs to understand, now that I've gone through this process, is the to put out one cigar for whatever it is, $10 to $20. I'm amazed that we pay that low for one cigar.
It's true.
If you watch the process of these people putting out a cigar, it's amazing. You know what I mean? It is truly like, if you ever had an opportunity to go to a cigar factory, watch them roll, watch them blend, you know, absolutely amazing.
I mean, even before
Absolutely
that,
amazing.
taking care of the seeds and having them grow the right way, and making
Oh,
sure
yeah.
that the plants are taken care of, and then the cultivating of the leaves and all of that stuff. I mean, even before they get to the blending process, the amount of care that goes into these plants is amazing. So, like
And the
300 hands from
yeah, the
Southern Draw,
science behind it.
crazy.
Oh heck yeah.
The science behind it. I mean, Aladino with that Corojo out of Honduras. I mean, that's all, a lot of research went into that with bear science. You know what I mean? And they put out some of the best, you know, and go for different countries.
True.
You know, give Ecuador, coming out strong. Don't forget about Honduras. We're coming up in Honduran Puro in about 30 days. Crazy cigar. Incredible leaves out of there. You know what I mean? And also realize that the brand owners, they're all accessible, and that's what I love about this industry.
Oh yeah,
They're
Could
all
not
regular
agree
people.
fantastic.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having me
again.
on, guys. Appreciate it.
We'll catch you next time.
Absolutely love it. And keep giving Mel a hard time too.
Always.
100%. All right.
See ya.
Well, yeah, we're gonna clear out of here, guys. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday. We will see you again on Friday.
Yep.
Don't forget to check out those links in the description if you still want to sign up to have a chance to win during the 5-year anniversary. The Patreon link's in there. Check out Artista Cigars. The link is in there in the description. Get your tickets for Cigar Heritage Festival. It's there as well.
Yep.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. What is this? He's hot about time. What are you talking about? I'm on show, like, every time.
There
What
goes
else?
my heart. It is now broken.
Have him on more. I honestly
Wow.
thought you would say that. I don't know how he's gonna feel. I thought you said that about Don Doroteo, but whatever. Thought he was a good-looking guy.
Wow, I thought me and Amber had something special, and now she goes and pulls this.
We're gonna start a new cigar calendar with just good-looking men of cigars. It's just gonna be a lot of forearms and cigars. It's gonna look good. I think that's the thing that ladies like. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, you guys all have a good one. We'll let Amber do it with what she will with that, and y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday. All right.
We'll see you guys.
Talk to you soon.